Welcome to the Medical Device Made Easy podcast. Here is Monir El Azzouzi from easymedicaldevice.com, and today we will talk about IVD or IVDR. So mainly today the idea is just to explain to you the transition periods for IVDR products because we are now at 9 months, 8 months maybe, when you listen to this episode, about the transition for IVD from IVDD to IVDR. So on the 26th of May 2022, this is the date of application for the IVDR. And the idea of today is just to explain to you how it is working. I have done the same kind of thing for MDR, and we'll try just to go through IVDR. We had already previous episodes on IVD with, for example, Eric Volbrecht, where we talked about self-testing devices. I had also an episode, episode 121, where we talked about the difficulty that it will be for IVD manufacturers if they are not acting now. And now we will just list, if I can say, the different times and dates that they have to look at. So don't hesitate to go on the show notes just to check those episodes if you want really to listen to that before maybe listen to this one. What I wanted just to make as a reminder is mainly the difference that we have between IVDD and IVDR. The difference between IVDD and IVDR is mainly higher than what we had between MDD and MDR because we have a complete change of the way that we have to consider IVD products. And first, the main changes is mainly the classification, which is making a big change to all the industry. We had, for example, before some systems of lists with IVDD, which is list A, list B, and other devices. And with IVDR, we have now the system of rules is exactly the same system as MDR. And one example that I can show you related to that is, for example, COVID-19 tests. So if you look within IVDD, those COVID-19 tests, if they were used by professionals, not self-testing, but professionals, those products will be self-certified. So it means that there is no need of anybody that is checking those products, if I can say. Only the competent authority where you will register the products will be checking that. So no notified body that will be reviewing any technical file or whatever. And this is because mainly it was considered as a low-risk device. But when you look now at the rules under IVDR, the COVID-19 test is the highest class, so class D. So mainly you will need here to have a notified body. You will need here to have also an expert panel to review your products. You need here to use maybe some laboratories, EU reference laboratories for that per Article 100. So there is a complete switch for some products from IVDD to IVDR. And this is mainly the topic of today, just to explain to you how this is working in terms of transition. Because maybe some people think, after the date of application, there will be some transition. Most likely not really. So it's mainly what we are trying to explain to you today. Not really. Why? Because nearly 80% of the products that are actually on the market are not regulated by a notified body. So there is no CE certificate because they are all on the other categories. So it's not like list A or list B or self-testing. It's other categories. So then there is no notified body. So mainly people are placing those devices on the market without any check from an authority like a notified body. Now with the IVDR, it's a complete switch. So 80% to 90% of the products that are now on the market today will be class B, C, or D. Not class A. So class A is mainly self-certified because it's mainly general products for laboratories or whatever. Then it means that 90% of the products that are actually on the market will need a notified body. And this is a big change. And we talked about that, as I said, on the previous episode. So what I wanted mainly to talk about is more the timelines for the transition. But first, for example, just to see the situation about COVID-19 test, you will also see on the show notes a guidance that was created by the EU Commission just to answer its question and answers related to COVID-19 tests between IVDD and IVDR. So you can also go there and see the type of question. And this is maybe also applicable to the type of products that you have. So if you have an IVD product, so maybe this can be also a good, it can be good for you to check that so that you maybe make a parallel with your product. So in terms of transition period, we'll make a lot of parallel here between MDR and IVDR because there are some similarities. So first, the IVDR and MDR were published in May 2017. Then from there, the clock starts related to the transition period. Initially, for example, for MDR, we had a 3 years transition period until May 26, 2020. And for IVDR, a 5 years transition period until 26th of May 2022. Then COVID arrived, and for MDR, they were adding one additional year, which is 26th of May 2021. So now, as of today, September 2021, we are already under MDR application. For IVDR, it's next year, 9 months for now, and the rule is mainly like this. So there is what we call a hard transition period, and there is a soft transition period. We used also those terms. I used also those terms for MDR, and just want to make a parallel here with the IVDR. So in terms of the hard transition period, mainly it means that those products that are hitting this hard transition period should be IVDR compliant immediately by the date of application, the 26th of May 2022. And this, as I've said, this is a hard transition period because mainly there is no kind of exception. All products that don't have a CE certificate now, all products that are moving to this date of the 26th of May 2021 without a valid CE certificate will need to apply IVDR immediately by the 26th of May 2022. It means that by the 26th of May 2022, those companies should have a CE certificate made by a notified body if they are under class B, C, or D. So this is mainly the rule here. Or self-testing, also companion diagnostic, those products, I mean, they are already high classified, so those products will need a notified body. If we make a parallel, if I can say, with MDR, we remember that, for example, we had software as medical devices, also some class 1R, which are for reusable surgical instruments. Those products have no CE certificate because they were class 1 under MDD, and they will become class 1R, so a new classification under MDR, and also class 2A, 2B, or 3 under MDR for software. And there was a corrigendum that was published at that time to say, okay, for those products, even if they don't have a CE certificate, we accept that they can continue to be placed on the market until 26th of May 2024. And then during that time, they have to have a notified body and this and that. This was the rule. It was a change because before it was not like that. It was like they should hit also the hard transition period. But there was a corrigendum. For IVDR, this one is not existing. It means that because if it exists mainly, it will cover every product that are under IVDR, because as I've said, 90% of the products will be having then this additional transition period until 2024. So this means that your product, if it has no CE certificate now, by the 26th of May 2022, you need to have a notified body, you need to have a review, an audit, etc. And we look after about those timings because it's something important. Now, if you are part of those companies that under IVDD do have a CE certificate, then after the date of application, your CE certificate can still be used under IVDD until the expiration date. So it means that if your certificate expires, for example, September 2023, then you can continue to place your devices on the EU market until September 2023. But not later than the 26th of May 2024. So this is really, I think, the same. This is exactly the same date as what is used actually for MDR. So they are trying really to align that everybody is moving to MDR and IVDR at nearly the same time. So as I said, so if you are lucky and you have that, then you can maybe transition. But there is not a lot of people that are doing that. But if you are lucky and you are having a CE certificate that expires later, maybe even by the 26th of May 2024. You can continue to apply IVDD, so the 9879 EC, but there are some elements that still should be under IVDR, and it's exactly the same rule that is used for MDR. Those elements are mainly elements like post-marketing surveillance, like vigilance, like registration of economic operators, also PRRC. You have to have a PRRC by the 26th of May 2021. You have to have also your importer, distributors, and EC rep that are following the articles. So for that are under the IVDR. So those things should be in place even if you have a CE certificate under IVDD. So this means also that you have to update your procedures. You have to update all those things to be compliant to this those requirements under IVDR. So if you are, we have made also a previous video on vigilance reporting. If you have a vigilance reporting procedure that is mentioning maybe IVDD, then you have to update those vigilance procedures to make it updated to IVDR. And we have done that, for example, on their consulting. So we have done that to some manufacturers. So they are sending us their procedures, and we are making all the transition, looking at all the gaps, and then making all the updates so that they can follow the requirements for IVDR. So this is something important. One thing that is also important is that, okay, you have an IVDD certificate until a certain date, but your IVDD certificate can be void if there is any significant change to your product. What we are saying when we are talking about significant change, it's mainly design change and intended purpose change. If you are making a test for a certain disease, but in the meantime you find, oh, it's also applicable to this disease, and you are changing the intended purpose, then this is a significant change, and then you will need to apply IVDR immediately. It's exactly the same rule that we have under MDR, so it was important here to mention about it. The other point is about UDI. We have also a transition, the same also as what we have done with the MDR. There is also a transition for placing the UDI on the product package. It doesn't mean that you should not have an UDI number by the 26th of May 2022. You should have one on your technical files, on your documentation, etc. But you can wait a certain time before to place it on the products, and those times are like that. For class D devices, so the highest class, it should be placed on the device by the 26th of May 2023, so 1 year after. For class B and C devices by the 26th of May 2025, and for class A devices, which are self-certified, by the 26th of May 2027. So it means that you have the UDI numbers on your technical documentation, but you can wait a certain time before to place it physically on the product. There is a lot of companies that are also selling their products in the US, and they have already a UDI there. So if you have it already, then it should be fine. You just have also to create the basic UDI DI for your products, and then you are on the safe side for it. And as I've said, this is important also because at a certain time, when the UDAMED database will be available, you have to have the UDI so you can register the products on the UDAMED database, but when it will be fully available. So it's why you have to have a UDI, but you can wait a certain time before to place it on the product itself. So these are mainly the transition periods for IVD products. So as I said, hard transition periods. Any products that don't have a CE certificate, they should have a notified body and the CE certificate under IVDR by the 26th of May 2022. Unless maybe, I don't know, maybe in a few months, the EU Commission will issue a new corrigendum and which says, no, it's fine, you can wait a certain time. But for now, I don't think this is something that they were mentioning. But we know that this is really something that can be really hard for some for manufacturers. The second thing that can be really difficult is the fact that you are ready to be IVDR certified, you have done all the work, etc. and you are starting to contact a notified body and nobody is answering. Why? Because under IVDR, we have actually 6 notified bodies that can certify you. 6 notified bodies for all the manufacturers all over the world that have then to place their devices on the EU market, which is, as I've said, huge. As I said before, for example, under IVDD, we have now actually 18 notified bodies, 18 notified bodies that can certify devices. So 18 notified bodies for maybe 15 to 20% of the market. And now we have 6 notified bodies for 90% of the market, which is completely, unbelievable, if I can say, or we don't know exactly how this will be handled. So under MDR, for example, you have actually 23 notified bodies, and before you had 50 notified bodies. But this is the same proportion of companies that should be certified under MDD and MDR. So there is just a new classification like software and class 1R that maybe will transition to a notified body check, but the rest were already under a notified body check. So you see here the difference is huge, and this is why we say that we will have maybe some issues. I mean, some of the manufacturers will maybe have some issues about that. So the other thing is also about class D devices. You need a notified body, but you will need also an expert panel. So it means that you have submitted your files, the notified body reviewed everything. It's not finished. The notified body has to go to an expert panel so that he can get his advice, and can take a few months also. And then you receive the advice and it's yes or it's no. So maybe it can be also a no, and then you are back to another situation. So all those timings that we are talking about, the date of application, the transition period, the number of notified bodies, all those parameters should be taken into account, because if you are not doing that immediately, you can miss, if I can say, the deadline, and you can miss everything. So let's make an exercise to just say that, for example, I'm ready to apply to a notified body. So let's say that today, September, we are ready to apply to a notified body that is on the list, on the IVDR, on the Nando database list. So we create our application. We mention on the application those IVDR codes, the EMDN codes. We are mentioning why we want to be, for which conformity assessment we want to apply, like Annex 9. So we are class B or C or D, whatever products. Then we send this application. The notified body receives the application. It will have around 3 months to review the application. So 3 months already. Why? Because it will look at the codes that you provided. It will look at which auditor assessors are available for your dossier. The assessors will check the technical documentation, verify that everything is fine, maybe send you some question about it. You'll have to answer, so it will be about some back and forth things. So it's usually an off-site review. Some notified bodies are doing that on-site, but usually it's an off-site review. Then we have an auditor that will come to verify your quality management system within your company. And then, this can be also something that will take some time to organize. So the notified body is receiving your application. 3 months passed. Then it gives you a thing to say, yes, we'll start the process with you. And they will tell you, or maybe we have a date in 3 months again to make an audit, to verify everything, etc. So you send us the documentation, and then in 3 months we have a date. Maybe the best case 3 months we have a date for an audit. So you submit your application, you submit your documentation, you maybe receive some questions, etc. And in the meantime, you plan the audit with the auditor, notified body auditor. Okay, 3 months later, so 6 months now from the date you apply, you received maybe a notified body auditor. In the best case, as I said, because it's really short here. Then the notified body auditor is making the audit. Everything is fine. Let's say that everything is fine. There is no non-conformances. There is nothing to answer, etc., which is rare. So you have to be also taking that into account. You receive then the information that yes, it's fine, but there is no non-conformances. But the notified body has also some kind of internal process. So they are receiving all the details from the auditor. They are checking everything that they have done. There is a commission or meeting with some leaders at the company that are reviewing all the files or documentation. And then they say, okay, yes, we are saying that everything is fine. It can take again 2 to 3 months because they are busy. There is a lot of manufacturers. So here we are already at the 9-month mark that we talked about at the beginning of the things. From the date, then it says, oh yes, we are. I think it's fine. We can provide you the certificate, but it has to be printed, etc., sent to you, which takes also maybe some time here. And then you receive the document, and then you can start to sell your products. This is, as I said, the best case, because as I've said, with 6 notified bodies managing all the manufacturers in the world, maybe you can add double for all what we discussed about today. So here, just practically, we see this with this example that if you haven't applied before, you are already you will maybe not make it at all to be certified. And I have some manufacturers that are angry. They call us and they say, okay, can you help us for this and for that? And we should make it. And can we have the audit in 3 weeks? And I say to them, stop now. Just let me explain you this process that I just explained to you. And if you are lucky, you will maybe have an audit in 9 months or 12 months, if you are lucky. If you are not, maybe it's in 2 years. So this is making also those manufacturers a bit stressed now, because they say, okay, so what are we doing in the meantime? Can we sell our products or not? Some of them are thinking of going to the US only, for example, or to other countries that don't have these timelines, etc., etc. So this is a situation that should be handled within your company. It's a strategy that you have to put in place, and this is mainly something that is not easy to manage. And so, as we said, the system changed completely. To summarize, so the system between IVDD and IVDR changed completely. We have now a new way to classify products, which makes that some products that before didn't need a notified body now need the notified body. There is not a lot of CE certifications that was issued under IVDD, because as I've said, a small amounts of manufacturers needed that. Then it means also that there is a big amount of manufacturers that don't have a CE certificate, and which then need to have a transition period within the hard transition period. They need to be transitioning to IVDR by the 26th of May 2021, which is can be hard for them. And the last one is that there is not a lot of notified bodies, so there will be a big bottleneck. I have actually, and even under MDR, I have actually some of the manufacturers we are working with that told us, yes, we have made the audit, we have made everything. In April 2021, we have received the information that we were fine, but there is some internal processes that are going with the internal audit. And here, April, September, we still haven't received our certificate. Here we talk about MDR. So imagine with IVDR where there is so much workload for some of the notified bodies. So this message was not to just alert you, it was also to ask you to start now your process. You maybe have few months where you cannot sell your products. The other thing is that the same rule that we had under MDR is applying to IVDR. If you are placing your devices on the market before the 26th of May 2022, so it means that if you are the manufacturer, you have a stock, you send those products to your distributor before the 26th of May 2022, those products can be sold on the market until 26th of May 2025. So it means that if you want to still have some sales, if I can say, during the time you are managing your transition to the IVDR, you should then send your products to your distributor, an entity, a hospital, or whoever that can maybe hold them. Maybe they are not paying you immediately, or they pay you just when they use it. They hold them, and physically they are at their place, and physically they belong to those entities, the distributor or whoever. And then they can continue to be sold on the market because they were placed on the market before the 26th of May 2022. So this is also something that you can do so that you are then on the safe side during this transition period where you are waiting to get your notified body audit and everything. So it's something that can be, I think, interesting also for you. So anyway, don't hesitate to contact me if you need any support on that. we can try to find a solution to define for you a regulatory strategy and to help you then to move on the right side. If you are outside of Europe and you need also a Swiss representative, EU representative, or a UK representative, so don't hesitate to contact me also. We have the service that is open to you, and we can help you for all this, to register your products, for example, within the MHRA or within the Swiss Medic. So we can help you for that. We can help you also for EUDAMED. So what we are doing with our customers that are under us, under the EU representative, under Easy Medical Device, we are helping them also to register their company on EUDAMED. So we are making a screen share and we are guiding them on how they do that. So if you really need also that for your support. Okay, so I hope this episode helps you to understand the situation actually for IVDR products. If you are on the IVDR business, so try to define your strategy now, try to define all the things that you have to put in place so that you can be on the safe side and you can continue to sell your products on the market. One of the important thing for you is first to define what is the new classification of your products under the IVDR, and then what are the elements that you need to have in place so you can place your devices on the market. So I hope, as I've said, this was helpful for you. Don't hesitate to contact me. Don't hesitate also to share this episode if you have some colleagues that are on this situation so that they can learn from it. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to contact me at info@easymedicaldevice.com, info@easymedicaldevice.com, and we'll try to help you for that. Okay, so it was a pleasure and I wish you a nice day.